this really reinforces why we do blending, that you don't want to be overweighted, have too much of your money correlated to stocks. Super painful the past month, past 6 weeks of this downturn there. If you're overweight in stocks, you really took a big hit. And then once again, you know, when I talk about blending, that means you probably should have had some bonds into the mix. I prefer stock correlation to the indexes. If you can't beat them, join them. Who beats indexes? Rarely anybody does. They're all wishful thinking, always trying, but rarely does anybody consistently beat the indices. So if we're going to do that, we like to use stock ETFs. Now, from the bond side is bonds. I like bonds, but they're a little problematic. They're kind of like houses. How do you sell a house? Got to list it and wait for bids. And then you've got to decide which one you want to take. Do they all bid more than it's worth? No, majority of all the time, mostly all the time, they bid less. So now you've got to, which one do I take? Well, you want to take the highest one closest to what you want to be, or you can say, I can't accept any of those. But through a bond ETF, it's a lot easier, and you're diversified there, just like on a stock ETF using indexes like to the S&P or to the Dow, the NASDAQ and such, or sub indexes. You're diversified there. So if we're using stock ETFs and bond ETFs, we've blended. Right there is 50-50, for example. Now, that's of the Wall Street portion. I also believe into the mix, you should have some non-correlated downside risk. I love the upside of the stock market, but can I put some money to work where I'm getting the upside of stock indexes, a portion of that upside. I don't have to get all of it because I'm going to have a trade-off here. I don't want any of the downside. So I like fixed indexed annuities for a portion of that blending there. So I use really 3 asset classes is the stock ETFs, bond ETFs, and fixed index linked, where we're doing participation rate with indexes. And subject to your risk number, we have basically a good blend. And our focus in 2019 was getting blended. So it became our philosophy overall, that type of blending there. And once again, what happened here in 2020? The bull run ended. We've had a major market correction of historical proportions. And those that had proper blending weren't impacted as much as most people out there that's overweighted, in my opinion, in stocks. I believe that's a better way to invest.